I want to play a little bit of something that I saw on campuses. This is a documentary that I saw at CUFI. This is Christians United for Israel. This is what is happening on campuses. Watch a little piece of this documentary here.
Zionism must be destroyed. Every aspect of it.
It's pretty frightening. What is happening on the campuses where you are? Are you seeing anything that is happening on the campuses? I'm sorry, I can't see your name. Aaron, what's happening on the campuses?
Well, I go to Rutgers University, and Rutgers in particular in the last year has had this rise and spike in anti-Israel, anti-Semitic behavior, not just from students, but from university officials.
Give me an example.
Give you an example. I'm very active in pro-Israel politics on campus, which mostly the socialist groups don't like, but primarily the anti-Israel, and I refuse to call them pro-Palestinian because they're solely against the state of Israel. And this one person who is the outreach coordinator for the Middle Eastern Studies Department at Rutgers University called me a racist Zionist pig on the Facebook wall of the president of our student administration and urged other students to go post in other Facebook hate groups about me. And when I took this up with the school said, well, she has freedom of speech. And this was, of course, then followed with her meeting me outside of a school meeting, pounding her chest, challenging me to a fight over my views. And I had no idea who she was, and I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. We can talk about this civilly. And it's out of control. They had a fundraiser at Rutgers University sponsored by student fees to send a flotilla to Gaza, which was stopped when the State Department came out and said, that's illegal. You're going to lose your tax-exempt status. You're going to lose all of these things if you allow that to happen. And luckily, the school listened. But after they already paid for it, we had the Adam Shapiro, who's the one of the founders of this flotilla movement, say that let's turn this from a war between the Palestinians and Israel to the world against Israel. And when I had that on tape, the school, they kicked me out of the event. They told me to delete what I had and leave the event.
Did you?
No.
Good. Give it to us. We'll make sure it's seen everywhere if it hasn't already been. Okay. Columbia University. Do we have some audio of what happened the last time that Ahmadinejad, the president of Iran, was here in New York and went and spoke at Columbia University?
In Iran, we do not have homosexuals like you do in your country. It is not a problem there.
Well, okay, so homosexuality is not a problem, and they don't have homosexuals, mainly because they'll stone you to death. How is it you're from Columbia University, which you're, pardon me?
I'm a first year.
You're a first-year student.
So
my condolences. And to your family, too. I find Columbia University to be one of the most arrogant places I've ever walked, set foot on. It's amazing. And I don't do that very often unless I'm wearing disguise. They're having lunch. The students are going to have lunch with Mahmoud Ahmadinejad.
I signed up for that.
You signed up for having lunch with Ahmadinejad?
Yes, I've been happy with the students at Columbia because I think everyone's very willing to hear different views. So, I mean, like they take me seriously. Like they ask me why I'm in favor of small government, and they take me seriously, and they don't just brush me off. So.
So we're open to hearing all kinds of different views and having lunch with a dictator who wants to kill and run all of the Jews into the sea. Is that appropriate? And we're talking freedom of speech. Is that appropriate? Josh?
First of all, for the record, I am an American citizen, but I'm also an Israeli citizen. And I find that an American university, regardless of the freedom of speech, hosting somebody whose sole mission in life is to erase me and Eli and any other Jewish or Israeli person who lives in Israel from the map, to not only be offensive, but in my opinion, appalling.
Okay, let me ask you something. What is your name? Nicole, okay. I'm an open-minded guy, believe it or not, no matter what the press says about me. I'm a pretty open-minded guy. You know, I like to hear opposing views. I would not attend a church that would bring Satan in and say, you know what, we just want to hear all sides. Would you?
I don't support what he says at all.
No, I know that. I'm not saying you do.
But I don't know. Who else can say they met this dictator? It's a historical moment in our generation.
Okay, but there is no wrong answer. We can disagree with each other, but there is no wrong answer. Let me go, RJ.
If I might, in reflecting your statement, you wouldn't attend a church that says invite Satan in to hear the other side. The first rule of war is know thine enemy, and what better way to know thine enemy than have lunch with him? I
don't need to have lunch with Satan to know him. I don't have to. I know who Ahmadinejad is. I had the opportunity just recently. You know, I know who he is. I know exactly who he is. I judge a man by the fruit of his labors, and I suggest that everyone do this. If you really truly believe that someone can say, hey, by the way, what religion are you?
Catholic.
You're Catholic. I'm going to kill all Catholics. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill your family. And I'm going to kill every Catholic I can. Until I run you out of Rome and kill the Pope, I'm going to vaporize all of you people. Okay? You should probably take me seriously.
Yes.
Wouldn't you?
I would.
Okay. No one says that who's in their right mind. And if they are saying that, and they are capable of also going, and I can feed myself too, you better look out for that individual. And you take them at their word. They may never do it. Don't ever. Would you walk into some place that said, by the way, I got a gun. You walk into my store, I'm going to shoot you in the head. Do you walk into the store?
I would not.
You would not. He'd have a right to. It would be kind of a cool thing to do and say, I walked into a store and all I got was this lousy T-shirt and a hole in my head. You may prove him to be a liar. You may prove him to a liar, but don't mess with people who say they want to kill you. Go ahead.
I agree with the gentleman in the back. And I think it's pretty despicable for Columbia to do that. As for the student's perspective, I would go and make that lunch with him the most heated grilling he's ever had face to face. I would make it hell. I'd try to pin him down. I would try to twist him, but it wouldn't be because I like him or I'm interested in it. It'd be purely with hatred in your eyes.
Don't you give him power?
Do I give him power?
Do you give him power by showing up, making it a press circus?
I can definitely see how that could be.
Do you know the history of Columbia University and Hitler?
Yeah.
You do. Go ahead.
An SS member, a member of the Nazi. They didn't invite Hitler, but they invited a member of the Nazi Party and government in the 30s, or it was the 30s, yeah, before the war, to speak at Columbia University.
And they embraced him.
Right.
And they rolled out the red carpet. They did exactly what they were doing to Ahmadinejad, and they were totally fine with it. They were totally fine with it until things went off the rails, and then later they had to come back and go, you know, that was a really bad idea. You don't give light. I'm not going to do a debate and say to people honestly, you know what? I'm neutral on this whole good and evil thing. I'm neutral on killing all Catholics. I just want somebody to hear the other side. I don't believe in killing all Catholics, but he does. And you guys just have an open discussion about killing all Catholics. That's insane. No responsible organization. If I got on the air and said, I do not believe in killing and vaporizing all the Jews, but we're just going to have an open discussion about it today, I would be put out of business like that. I'm sorry. There are limits. And Dinesh D'Souza is here. You, sir, am I wrong on that? You're far more learned than I am. Am I wrong on saying that you don't have an open dialogue and conversation and legitimize evil like Columbia University is with Mahmoud Ahmadinejad?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I do think it's the U.S. government's job to block people like that. In other words, in a university, I don't oppose the idea of engaging and arguing. And I certainly don't oppose a student who is powerless to control the setting, going to a venue and saying, all right, I'll do my part to challenge him. So in that sense, I think the university is an open place. But I think the government should say, wait a minute, do we want a guy like this even here?
My only question, and we have to take a break. My only question is, isn't there a difference? Isn't there a place in a university for saying right and wrong? We can listen, but this is wrong. And by being neutral on those things, you send the wrong signal. Back in just a second.
GBTV. The truth lives here.